Hello everyone, this is Mr. Rain, and today I'm talking about the free-to-play game Ironsight. It's a free-to-play first-person shooter, and it takes a lot of inspiration from Call of Duty. It has your typical score streaks, as well as a 3-perk system. Each of these perks are passives that allow you to do things such as run faster, reload faster, have more ammo, and I even saw one just now where it allows you to defuse the bomb quicker in the game mode Search and Destroy, because every free-to-play first-person shooter needs to have that game mode. Along with this, Ironsight is pretty standard and pretty well made, from what I can tell. It is a beta build, and so I don't know what more they're going to add. The game balance overall feels okay. It doesn't feel difficult or obviously pay to win. I don't think there is a way for pay to win to occur in this game so far as it is. From what I can see, a lot of the stuff that you do pay for tends to be reskins of the weapons that are already in the game. So there's no real competitive advantage from or paying for items within the game. The game modes are Search and Destroy, Team Deathmatch, Secure the Point. For some reason, Domination is not in there, and I don't know why. I like Domination a lot, and I think part of that is because of the way the maps are designed. A lot of the maps are typically very small, and so I can see trying to fit 3 points in a smaller map design like they have now wouldn't really work well. So there, I just answered my own question. But going on with this, the game feels really good, it feels really smooth. There is something going on in regards to when you die, and I don't know what it is, it just feels abrupt. The hit registry and all that feels pretty snappy, and it feels more or less accurate. I don't have any times where I feel like I should have hit the guy and I didn't. More times than not, when I feel that way, it's because I either hip fired, or because I'm hitting the guy in the torso and I got shot in the head. So, more than likely, it could be my fault, it could be my own way that I see the game, but that's how I experience it. Ironsight is just a typical first-person shooter. Everything feels good. It feels nice. In regards to the anti-hack system and all that, I personally cannot tell. I've been playing it for quite a while, and I don't feel like I ran into a hacker. I did run into a team or two or in a round or two that my team was just completely getting wiped out, but you expect that to happen in a free-to-play game where everyone's skill level is all over the place. And I feel that's a weakness that the game has right now. I think the matchmaking is not 100% on par. There are times where the games are very close and they're very fun, but there are also still times where my team blows out the other team by 20 or 30 points, and vice versa. So, it's a beta build, it's a free-to-play game. Expect things like that to show up. Expect things like that to happen. It's not something that tends to get away from these type of games, and even on paid games that have matchmaking, even those games kind of struggle with it. Matchmaking is always a difficult thing, a difficult tool to work with, and so for a free-to-play game to have this in a beta build, I can understand that. I can understand why it may not be 100% on par with any other game that has matchmaking. I haven't tried the competitive yet, but I'm going to in a little bit, and maybe I'll make a follow-up video on that and see how that feels. In regards to the score streaks, they seem to be balanced as well. You typically don't get to use your score streaks more than once per game. If you play and you're the top 3 of your team, you will typically be able to use all 3 of your score streaks within the match, within the round, and then, or within match, because in Secure Point you have 3 rounds. So, within those 3 rounds on Secure Point, you get to use all 3 of your score streaks at least once. And if your team is doing really great, you may also be able to use your first and or second skill streak again, but much later into the round. Your score streaks are also on a cooldown after you use them. So your points that you get immediately during and after your score streak does not count into them. So that allows for the opposing team to have some mercy time in order to get their points and use their score streaks against you. And I feel that's a good way to balance these kind of things. Score streaks are designed to be overpowered, and they're designed to get at least a kill or two. And so in this game, you can see that they're trying to make it so both sides have access to their score streaks without it being entirely overpowering to the other team. Again, the only problem is that if the skill difference is just too wide, it doesn't matter anyways. But I digress. Hopefully in the future, matchmaking will be a lot more smoother. There will be a lot more players, and the game won't have this issue, at least not as often as it does now. One other thing that I have to say that I don't really like is that because it is a Call of Duty clone, guess what it has? It has bullet flinching, which means every single time someone hits you, your character flinches. And that really makes it difficult to shoot back and to shoot back accurately. And I feel that this is rewarding weapons with a high rate of fire more than the weapons that have higher damage. Typically in a game like this, you're going to have weapons that have medium to high damage with high recoil, where you typically get to kill within 4 to 5 shots. But the problem is that if you're getting shot of a lower powered weapon, but has a higher rate of fire with a lower recoil, then all that bullet flinching makes it near impossible to use the medium to heavy damage rifles. I've been trying to use the ACR and the AK-47 recently, and it's just pure torture trying to use those weapons against an SMG like an MP5 or a P90. More times than not, almost in every single game that I get into, there's at least 1 or 2 people running around with a P90. And SMGs are great, and it's great to see a game that rewards SMG gameplay. The only problem is that the reason why the SMGs are doing really well is because of their high rate of fire that's causing the opponents to have this essentially seizure of bullet flinching that makes it impossible to fire back accurately. So if they can do something where a lower powered weapon that has a high rate of fire reduces the flinching of your opponent, then that would make more sense. It's a lower weapon, it's not going to deal as much damage, you shouldn't be flinching as hard from a SMG compared to an assault rifle in the terms of game balance. If they can find a way to balance that so that it's more viable for these heavier rifles to work, I think that can help with just the all-around gameplay. And just the all-around gameplay and the overall enjoyment, and allowing more playstyles to excel rather than everyone having to use a high rate of fire weapon. In most other games that play like this or play similar to this, the high rate of fire weapons tend to be the go-tos just because of how much output they have. Again, the problem with this game is that if you get hit first, you're going to die first in almost every scenario. You can shoot back, and there are times where you can win your fights when you start late, but if you're going against an SMG, good luck to you. Chances are you're going to die before you deal 50 damage to them. So yeah, these are my initial thoughts. I think it's a solid first-person shooter. There are a few things that it does have to work on, but overall it is an enjoyable experience if you're just looking for a game to pass the time or just to fool around with a few friends. This feels pretty good to me. This feels like a pretty solid foundation for a game. The gameplay and the core gameplay feels nice. Just a few small issues here and there that you would expect from a free-to-play game, and that's about it. I am Mr. Rain. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and check out the game if you want. This video is not sponsored, by the way, so everything that I said here is entirely off the cuff and entirely my opinion. And with that being said, if you do want to try the game, I do have the link down in the description below. Enjoy.